I'm talking like bedsheet thin. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. No. Which, damn it. How was that? Yeah, baby. Oh my god. Okay, once again. This is my tiny book earrings. There's a nice contrast for the color of the earrings and my sweater, so I think it would go well for this clip. Okay, welcome to my studio, everybody. If you're new here, my name is Gift. I am a paper artist. I make paper from recycled paper and I turn it into notebooks and other paper crafts like stickers, watercolor pads, and bookmarks. Today, I plan to do some experiment. I will be testing out using really thin fabric. I'm talking like bedsheet thin. So this is the fabric that I'll be using. I got this fabric from Value Village, a thrift store nearby, and it's just super thin. I got it in a nice color, deep red. At the time of recording, it's almost Valentine's. So that's why I would like to try out using this color, well, this type of fabric specifically, to make covers for my notebook. So far, what I have done for this fabric is these two types of cover right here. I did some embroidery on them. You can tell here, this is all handmade. And another cover is this cute heart-shaped design here. So for this cover, it'll be for a hardcover book like this. And for this one, you can see there are two covers right here. This will be for also hardcover, but exposed spine with Coptic stitch. So it will turn out similar to this. So what I want to test out specifically is how this type of fabric would react when I do all the gluing and everything that is needed to make the cover. You can see the back of the cover, it already has this like plastic lining here, and that's because I already put in the heat and bond sheet at the back of it, so that I can use this glue side to stick it on thin paper, and that is the process of paper backing the fabric. This would help create a better structure and add a little bit more thickness to the fabric cover. So yeah, that's what I want to test out and see if it would work well or it would create some glue mark or not. I really hope that it doesn't. And if it works really well, then I'll have a bunch of red fabric to make bookcloth for my upcoming Valentine's festival. It's gonna be pretty. Let's get to work. What I'm gonna do now is paper backing the fabric. And usually, I will use thin tissue paper like this, like your normal backing paper, and it's really thin. In this case, since the fabric is just so thin, I instead will use a normal copy paper as a paper back for the fabric, because it has a little bit more thickness and a little bit stronger than the normal packing paper. And let's see how it goes. The way I do it, I just remove the liner, plastic liner. And once you remove that, well, I have to be quite careful with the embroidery area. All right, now I removed the plastic liner. What you see here that is quite reflective is a very thin layer of glue from the heat and bond sheet. What I'm gonna do is just put that on top of the paper that I'm gonna be using. And I have to find a better way to iron it because there are some bit of glue on the side like this. Some layer of glue are just a little bit, excessive from the heat and bond sheet. And I have to be careful not to iron that like directly. Otherwise my iron would have the sticky part, from the melted glue. So I'm gonna put another paper at the top. I hope it'll be okay. There's some wrinkle on the fabric. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. The wrinkle around the heart. That's probably that's how it's gonna be if you work with a really non-stretchy, like thin fabric, and you did the embroidery on the fabric itself, and it's gonna create some kind of a, pull between the threads. When you paper back, it's just gonna have wrinkle like that. But we'll see if I can fix this at all. We'll see. All right, that kind of helps. I think that's the best I could do. All right, that's a little bit of an improvement. The wrinkles are pretty much gone, but you can still see that there are some glue marks, some streaks of glue that appear on here. Like they're a little bit darker than other areas. I think that's the disadvantage of the fabric being so thin, and it's also a dark fabric. That's why when there are glue marks like this, it's gonna be more visible than lighter fabric. But I still want to finish this and see the final result. All right, now I finished ironing all the covers. Oh, the results are not really what I expected. Look at these ones. These are the best result, but otherwise, this is the one I did before that. You can see there glue marks, the darker areas of the fabric. But anyway, that's okay. This is how I learn. This is the first experiment of this thin fabric here. Let's start making the covers. So I won't be covering how to make the text block or how to stitch the signatures together in this video because I already made the clip full tutorial of how to do just that, which I will link somewhere in this video as well. That's the exactly same process that you can follow if you want to do the same size of book, which is a tiny A7 book. Right now I'm gluing the spine of the book, and while waiting for this spine to dry, I will sew another book, the Coptic stitch book. All right, so I finished gluing the spine. So I just want to point out that this book here will be a hardcover book, and it's the exact same size as this pink book right here. And I have a full tutorial on how to make this from start to finish, starting from preparing the paper, making into signatures, punching holes, how to start stitching. For the binding stitching method, I'm using French link and Kettle stitch. I have both the free tutorial on YouTube and also a paid workshop. So check them out. They'll be very helpful and very, I went into much more details on that for sure. While I'm waiting for the spine of the book to dry, I will start doing Coptic stitch for another book. I'll use these covers for the Coptic stitch book. Alright, now I just cut the chipboard for covers for my book. This chipboard is 80 point thick, so it's about 2 millimeter thick. I cut them the exact same size as the book. In the end, it would turn out to be something like this. The cover would be eventually become a little bit, just a tiny bit bigger than the text block, than the signatures itself. Okay, so what I have to do next is cutting these covers to size. Rough cut the excess off. Alright, now I'm ready for gluing the bookboard onto the book cloth. So I gotta make sure to flip this on this side and stick it right there. Now I just have to trim each of them to the size. I'm using 2 centimeter spacer. So this would be the overhang flap on each side of the cover. All right, now let's cut the corners. I will use 5 millimeter corner jig. All right, the next step is to glue each flaps and then fold it to the cover, to the bookboard. I'm gonna use waste paper, and I start from the length side, the long side. Fold it. Stick the corner. Change the waste paper, short side. No. Sometimes I like to do that. Use the tiny clip to clip just right there to help with the sticking. And now we're going to do the same exact thing with the other cover. Next, I cut 2 pieces of paper to use as the end paper, like that. First, I cut it to the same size as the signature, which is the paper in the book, and then I make it a little bit smaller so that it would fully cover that area right there with a little bit of a border on each side. I just use my leftover, recycled paper. And press it like that. There you go. Fold it in half like that and rub on the surface. Okay, do the same thing for the other cover. Now these covers are ready for punching. Right. I mark the spots where I will punch on the cover. 1, 2, 3, 4. The same alignment as the signatures, because that's important. And just punch. all the holes are punched, both the covers and all these signatures. And now we are ready for doing the Coptic stitch binding. This won't be a tutorial for Coptic stitch binding because I am still at the practicing stage myself. But all right, it's acceptable. So here is the final result. I think I like the color. It's just I have to plan better with the thread and also the design of the cover embroidery. If I were to do this again, this design. Otherwise, it's not bad at all. There's just some glue marks on here. But if I don't use too much heat, then I think it'll be fine. It'll be less visible. This is the cover, the front cover, that, you know, the glue marks almost completely invisible. So that's one note that I have to be aware of when I do the next red cover project. Okay, one book down. It's a finishing press. Instead of using the press, you can also put the bricks on top of it. All right, now let's make the cover for the hardcover book. This is how my text block looks like right now. I already put on the mull, which is my old white cotton fabric, and these are end bands. If you want to know how to do that on your book spine, then be sure to check out my free tutorial or my workshop. Now I already trimmed the excess of the book cloth, and I already center, you know, the location of this embroidery. I marked the location that I would put the book board on right here already. For the book board, I use the same chipboard paper as the exposed spine Coptic-bound book, which is 80-point chipboard paper, and that's about 2 millimeters thick. There are 3 pieces that I had to cut: front and back cover and the spine. And the measurement of all that, I also cover that in my tutorial and the workshop. So alright, for this cover, I will use the 6 millimeter spacer, which is it's the space for the hinge gap, and that sits between the spine and both of the covers. Remove the spacer and do the same thing for the other side. Oh, gotta press first. The spacer of 2 centimeters. Trim the excess. Then I use 5 millimeter corner jack to trim the corners of the book cloth. Do that for all the sides. Okay, all the corners trimmed. Now I'm ready to glue all the flaps on 4 sides. And with that, we can't do it without some waste paper. Okay, long sides first, just like we did with the Coptic-bound book. Make the crease and flip. Stay away from the glue trace a little bit. Ooh, that's something I have to be more careful. You see, I happen to brush the glue over there because it has a little bit of excess on the bond folder, and it's gonna leave the mark, which I was not careful enough. Now this fabric is sensitive to glue marks. All right, I'm gonna just change this. Keep gluing until you finish all the 4 sides. All right, now I am done with gluing all the flaps. What's left is just to glue the end pages on both sides and then stick it to the cover. You can see the glue marks there. That's one thing I had to be more careful about. You know, working with this dark, plain color fabric. That is something that can happen so easily, you know. And it's permanent. Process is quite time sensitive because since the glue dries so quick. Flip that to the other side. Put the waste paper at the bottom. A bunch of glue on. Apply so quickly. Okay, waste paper out. Away. The moment of truth. This process will determine how center you align your book. Okay, hold on. Before I do that, I gotta make sure that I get, okay. Just, damn it. Yep, that's not good. Okay, center align the spine of the text block on the spine of the board. And now lift up each cover against the hinge gap. Do that for both sides. Pinch the spine of the book using the same amount of force, and then slowly close the book. This would ensure that the spine of the book stays at the center, like absolute center. And now press the book. Start making the mark on the hinge gap. Wow. This color is truly, you know, pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna, you see there's some wrinkle there. So I'm gonna use a little bit of foam pieces here and then try to smooth out the end pages like that. Do that for both sides. Make sure to do this when the glue is still, you know, wet enough. Now comes the part that I have to press the book and leave for a little while. I use acrylic pieces, one at the bottom, so that I can move it easily. Make sure to get 2 of the skewers to help create the grooves on both sides. Okay, I will come back and check on this in like an hour and see how it goes. Use all those 3 bricks. The position of the skewers are placed on the hinge gaps to help create those beautiful grooves. And the weight of all these bricks would help with that job. Okay, let's check in on this in another hour. And I will also leave this overnight. Okay, 1 hour passed. All right, look at that. Look at the grooves. That is so pretty. On the other side. Now let's hear the sound of the book cracking when we open it the first time. How is that? Yeah, baby. This is so pretty. Now let's see if we did a good job aligning the spine right at the center perfectly or not. I usually taste that by try to find the middle part of the whole book, like the very center of the middle signature, and then crack that open all the way, and then observe the end bands on both sides. And that looks pretty similar to me. That is a success. Yes. My God, this is so pretty. This is the result of me testing out the cover of these two books made out of very thin bedsheet red color fabric. So conclusion, things you should be aware of when you use this type of thin fabric for book cloths. The first one is be sure to paper bag the fabric before using as book cloth. Paper bagging the fabric helps create structure and add a little bit more thickness to the book cloth. So it's going to make the book cloth a lot easier to work with when you glue the book cloth with the book board. Second, when you paper bag the fabric, make sure that you're aware of the heat of your iron. Try not to use too much heat because the heat will melt the glue way too much, and the glue will eventually create the glue marks. And especially with this type of fabric, which is dark and plain color, it's gonna make the glue marks even more visible. And number three, whenever you use the period glue with the cover, you have to be very careful, because if you make a mistake and if the glue happens to stain the area that you don't want it to stain, then it's gonna be so difficult to wipe it out. And the glue dries so fast, and once it dries on the plain fabric like this, the same issue occurs, which the glue mark will just stay there forever. You can't really get it out. And that is all the notes I have for working with bedsheet thin fabric as book cloth for your handmade book. All right, so I hope that my experiment is helpful, and have fun. Let's create your own project. Bye.